everybody, and welcome. This is the Wednesday Word of Wisdom. Now, before we get really any further, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also read this on my blog or listen to it as a podcast on your favorite podcast provider. And hey, I'd love to connect with you on social media. My Facebook and Instagram links are right here.
How relationships are critical to our overall well-being and happiness. Because if your relationship is in peril, the stress is astronomical and it impacts on every other area of your life, whether you like it or not. It has that impact where people want to put the blame on somebody else. And, they'll talk about their relationship and if only he would change, if only he would just help out more, if only he would, fill in the blank, then our relationship would be good. Not necessarily realizing the power that we bring to the relationship as well and how we contribute to that. And, our kids grow up and they move out and, if we've spent all of our time and energy completely focused on them, when that happens, you turn around and look at your spouse and you're like, I don't know what to talk to you about. I don't know you anymore. And actually, when you look at divorce stats, that 20 plus years of marriage, that's pretty high rates of divorce, unfortunately, which is really sad. But it's because we didn't take the time to invest in the relationship all along and focused elsewhere. And then at the end of the day, we feel lost and we don't feel like we can keep going with it, right?
Dr. John Van Epp says, when we first meet each other, we do three things. And it's so simple and it's so true. But we talk, we're together, and we spend time with each other. And we're together in different circumstances. And that's how we get to know each other. And then as we grow in our marriage, there's always more to know. That knowing never tops out because he could do the sweetest, kindest thing for me. And I suspected his motives. And I recognized this was not about him. This was me. And it was so contemptuous. What do you want from me now? And Dr. John Gottman talks about contempt as being destructive to relationship and the greatest predictor of divorce. And so I started to pray about that because I was so critical and so defensive. And I call it the right fighter. He just couldn't win. It didn't matter what he did. He couldn't win, right? You do something nice for somebody and you can't win. What you focus on matters. It determines your mindset, your attitude toward your partner. And what you focus on grows too. And so if you're focusing on all the negative and all the things that they do wrong and they can't do anything right, you're going to get more of that. And if you focus on what is good about them, you're going to get more of that. You're going to see that. You're going to catch them. I say catch them doing something good and let them know.
And what we put in, our eyes or ears, that shifts our belief system about whatever that thing is. What we continually tell ourselves, that's what creates those belief systems. If we continually tell ourselves that, our husband is dropping the ball, that's all we're going to see. But whereas when we start to tell ourselves those good things and those things that we fell in love with in the first place, those things that we see that where they're trying and they're really showing up in their way, in some way, it helps us to start to remember what that value is and who that person is and why we're with that person. They want the results right now. So if I have a challenge with my husband, I want you to fix him. I want you to sort of give me the magic one-line cure that's going to somehow transform this relationship, not realizing that, there's a couple of really important things that they have to do. They have to invest into the relationship. They have to be willing to put in time, energy, maybe some skin in the game they have to be willing to change behaviors, take responsibility. There's so many different little pieces that come with the change process. And it's that's that growth journey, that growth program, that you got to throw yourself on and kind of say it's not over till it's over. And it's not over basically until I win.
Couples hit that disruptor, but then they pass through it. They're often better on the other side. But we often give up before we pass through because those consistent habits of, caring for each other, they're just hard. And we don't always feel like being vulnerable. We don't always feel like being honest. We don't always feel like, loving when someone is not being so nice. And so it's hard. It is hard. But, one of the first marriage lessons that we learned was from Dr. Gary Smalley. And he said that conflict is the doorway to intimacy. And I think some of us want it easy. We don't want the conflict.
It just goes to show how important it is that we continue to nurture, right? Continue to nurture the relationship, continue to look inside of me and how am I contributing to the problem? Continue to work on those areas where we drop the ball, because we go into those like selfish mindsets, based on, circumstances or what's happening inside of our mind or whatever that's going on at that time. And we can go into like those selfish mindsets and we're just like, and we have to catch ourselves as we go through that and go, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, keep working on this. Gotta keep growing. I have to keep, but it's like, like a garden. A garden has to be not just planted, but tended to, and not just tended to once, right? Like there needs this continuous like watering and weeding and right, pulling out some of the yucky stuff. And, sometimes we have to, I guess I'm using lots of gardening analogy, but there's so many different pieces that go with that. This garden, if you really want it to flourish, it needs lots of work. And even when it looks like it's flourishing, you've got lots of blooms, you've got lots of fruits and vegetables, you've got whatever you're growing, that's still not the end of the nurturing process. Just because the plant is healthy now doesn't mean that's the end of the nurturing process. It's continuous right till the end.
I can't give away what I haven't put into me. If I am tired and if I haven't gotten if I'm not looking after myself, I cannot be kind. I am not so kind to other people. And so I need to be able to fill up so that I can pour out again.
Because you're kind of having to constantly push yourself to take those little action steps that you need to be doing. But when you start to get good at taking care of me and building in good habits and things like that, it's still work, but it doesn't feel as strenuous.
Sometimes we don't even know what we're feeling. Sometimes we don't even know what we need, and we can't share that with someone else unless we know what that is. And my journal is a great friend to help me process through what am I feeling, what am I thinking, what do I really want, in order to be able to express that to my husband. And so for me, I really need to do that work because I didn't grow up thinking about my feelings, feeling a lot, but not really identifying what it was. And so I need to do the work in journaling to be able to identify what it is so I can share that with my husband and the people that need to know.
Get your daily dose of motivation on the Motivational Moments with Michelle podcast. In Motivation with Michelle podcast, you'll get encouraging, uplifting, and life-changing wisdom that will transform your world at your fingertips, 24 hours a day. Get a fuller, deeper revelation of the tools you can implement to see incredible transformation in your life from Michelle Newstedter's powerful teachings. Tune in whenever you need to be edified, uplifted, or a dose of motivation, no matter where you are. Subscribe to Motivational Moments with Michelle podcast with Michelle Newstedter today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SoundCloud.
Do you want to reignite the spark in your relationship?
How can you be more fearless?
How can you anchor yourself to the truths you know, but you aren't living out?
Fearlessly Anchored Marriages is a program that will teach you to live love intentionally. Anything you want in life does not come accidentally.
So why would your relationship be any different?
Over the next 12 weeks, you will be exposed to some of the mindset blocks that could interfere with your current relationship. You will be coached to learn how to set boundaries, how to recognize opportunities, how to develop self-awareness, how to lead yourself and lead your relationship.
We've all been there. The struggle is real. We want to feel connected, heard, valued, and loved. Join us in transforming your relationship. Reignite the flame.
Reconnect. Refresh. Fearlessly Anchored Marriages. Let's live love
intentionally.